Hi everyone, it's Alicia with Quilts on Tour. Today I want to show you how to make a zipper pouch. You can either use little hexies or you can use a single sheet of fabric. If you got our September subscription box, there was some directions in there for how to put this together, but I wanted to put together a video just so it's a little easier. So the supplies that you're going to need is Pellon lightweight fusible fleece. You're going to need a lining fabric, and you're going to need an outside fabric, either with hexagons or a solid sheet. You need some clips. You're going to need a zipper, and you're going to need some kind of marking tool to mark your quilting lines. So let me first show you, I had started to make hexagons for this, but I had gotten this far and ran out of time. So I figured I would show you how to put it together with a single sheet of fabric so I didn't have to wait any longer. But I wanted to point out how I laid this out. So what I did is I sewed it together in strips. So this one's partially sewed on. And I have another video to show you how I sew these together and sew them together to other hexies. So it makes it so you can't see the thread. So basically, you want to just make enough hexies and lay them out to make whatever size you want. So my lining fabric is 9 by 22, so my hexies would need to be 9 by 22. And as you can see, I didn't get very far, so it would take me forever to get to 22 inches. You could also use, in your September subscription box was this Roxanne's glue-based dabbit. And I hadn't used it before, but I tried it really quick with this one. It's a little fidgety, but I think part of that is because of my band-aided finger. But it actually was quite easy to just put little dabs of on the fabric and hold it down, and it held it really quick. Like you didn't have to sit there and hold it for it to grab it. Grab the fabric pretty quick. And if you do it on the fabric and not the paper, you'll be able to pull the paper out pretty easy. So if you don't feel like sewing, you can use the glue. I personally, although I've only done the one, I personally like sewing them better. That's just my opinion. Some people don't like to hand sew. I find it very relaxing. I actually made most of these on a trip driving from Atlanta back home to New Jersey. So if you had in for a long car ride, these are great. So I'm going to move these out of the way so we can put together this zipper pouch. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is take your outside fabric, which I chose this. This fabric is from Poppy Cottons, and the line is Country Roads. And this fabric was in our subscription box as well. So you can use a whole piece, or like I said again, put your hexies together. So you want to iron your top piece to your fusible fleece like this. And let me just iron that down real quick. Okay, and if you're using hexies and there's some of the white showing because you know it's not even, make sure you don't run over that spot with your iron or you'll get the glue on your iron. And if you're using hexies, again, we don't want to trim it yet. Trimming will be the last thing we do. So now we want to quilt our top piece to our lining fabric. So you want to put your lining fabric face down and put this over top. You can either pin this down, clip it down, use spray basting, but it's just such a small piece that I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I might just clip it so it doesn't move. And this is where your creativity can come into play. So you can quilt this any way that you want. I'll probably just do straight lines. So straight lines this way, I think. So this is where you get your hera marker and you decide, I guess, how often you want to put your lines. I think I'm going to go every 2 inches. So you just kind of line it up. And if you push pretty hard, you can see the line, and that's what you're going to sew on. Don't know if you could see that. And then you go 2 inches more, push down, and there's the line. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. So I'm just going to keep marking that down 2 inches. I like using the hair marker if I'm going to be quilting right away, because obviously it's not going to stay for a very long time, but I don't have to worry about, is the marker going to come off my fabric? That always makes me nervous. I know people use friction pens or friction markers and water soluble stuff, and it just always makes me really nervous. All right. So that's all marked up. And usually when I quilt something, I start in the middle and then just kind of work my way out. So I'm going to quilt this really quick and be right back. Okay, so I have my piece all quilted together, so now it's one piece. I think it turned out pretty cute with the stripes. So you'll take your zipper and you want to keep it zipped closed. You're going to lay it flat with the zipper pointing toward the left. And then you're going to take your piece here and you're going to lay it face down. So whatever's going to be our outside, we're just going to kind of, let me trim that. I'm just going to trim this edge so it's all one piece. Or even top and the bottom, just so that that's even. You can trim your sides too, especially if you're using hexies to be one piece, or to make it all even at this point too, but my sides are pretty straight. Just doing a horrible job at straightening this thing. You can trim your sides too, but mine are pretty straight, so when you fold it in half, whatever's not quite even is going to get hidden in your seam allowance. But if you're using hexies, you'll want to trim that so your edges are straight. Okay, so we're going to put the pretty side down and on the top piece of the zipper. And just kind of center it like that. And clip it or pin it in place. And now we're going to sew that down on the sewing machine. Okay, so we've got our zipper sewed on, so we're just going to kind of finger press the zipper up, and I'm going to top stitch that down to give it a finished look. And I have a zipper foot on, and I'm going to have to move my needle over just a little bit. So when you top stitch, you want to make sure you stitch as close to the zipper as possible. It just gives it that finished look, and it actually helps hold the zipper up to do the other side. So to do this side, so when we attached the first piece, we had the zipper facing the left. So now we want the zipper, your zipper pull facing the right. And it's just kind of the same steps. You're going to pull the bottom of your pouch here up to the top. You want to make sure your sides are lined up even. This is where, if you're using a hexagon piece, you want to make sure your sides are trimmed straight. Since I was using a solid piece, I didn't have to trim those sides. But if you're doing the hexagons, make sure you trim it. And we're just going to do the same thing. You're going to clip this in place. Zippers like to move on me, so I actually kind of use more clips than you normally would. And I'm just going to place one clip on either side here just to kind of help hold it in place. So now let's sew this zipper side of the zipper down. All right, and now we want to reach in there because we want to top stitch the side that we just sewed on. So if we just kind of unzip our zipper all the way, we can flip it around and we'll be able to inside it out the right way. And oops. Leave it unzipped so you don't sew it together. And then we're going to top stitch this side down just to give it that finished look. So same thing on both sides. So remember just to unzip your pouch all the way, and that'll give you access to that side. Alright, so that was the hard part with your zipper. You now have your zipper in. So we want to put it back where it's right sides together, because we're going to sew up the sides here. But when you zip your zipper up, make sure you don't zip it all the way up. You're going to leave it open about halfway. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to turn your project inside out. And we're also going to pull it down about, let me zip it up. So pull it down and you can just eyeball it about an inch down. So there's like this tab at the top. So your zipper is going to start about an inch down. Make sure that's all straight. Give it some clips to hold it. Okay, and make sure you unzip your zipper halfway. You won't be able to turn it inside out. And I need to change my foot real quick. I have a Bernina 770 QEE edition, so it quilts and embroiders, and I just love it. It's one of my prized possessions. Alright, just changing the settings here. Okay. Alright, I'm going to start on this side. And you can do, I'm probably going to do a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but you can do 1/4 inch, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And when you get to the zipper, because it's a nylon zipper, you should be able to sew right over top the coils of the zipper. And I'm actually going to go back over it a little bit, just to reinforce the zipper. Okay, and let's do the other side. When you do the other side, because the zipper is open, you just want to make sure that that's lined up and doesn't move on you too much. Ta-da! And here's your little zipper pouch. The inside, oh, first we want to trim off the zipper. We don't need that on there anymore. And I don't really want to use my rotary cutter. Alright. Use my scissors that can cut through the zipper without harming the scissors. I'm just going to trim that off. Alright. And you can finish it like this if you want, but I want to box the corners so it kind of lays a little flat. And how we do that is I'm just going to kind of finger press and make a crease along the bottom there. And you kind of pull open the sides. And you want to line up, come here, your seam here with that crease that we put in the middle, down the middle, at the bottom. If you've boxed like tote bags or something, this should be pretty easy to do. So, don't really like pins, but for boxing bags, pins are better to hold it closed. Or hold it open, actually. Okay. And then we're going to measure in about 2 inches from the corner of your bag here. Measure in 2 inches, and we're going to draw a line. Okay. And I have like a Fiskars pen, and you can use, make sure that's lined up. You can use any pen or pencil at this point because you're not going to see it, and you're going to actually cut off. It's a little fidgety because it's thicker. And I think I'm actually going to do 1.5 inches. 2 inches just seem to pull it up a lot. So you can go 2 inches. If you go 2 inches, then your box will be 4 inches. So it's kind of double whatever you, however far up you go. That's how wide your box bottom's going to be. And this isn't very wide, so 2 inches just looked too big for me. So you can just eyeball it, and you don't even have to do this step if you don't want to box your bottoms. Okay. Just remember, if you do 1.5 inches on one side, you should do 1.5 inches on the other side. Draw that line. Okay. Alright, now I'm just going to sew along that line on both sides. And at the beginning and the end, I'm going to do a couple back stitches just to hold it tight. Let's do the other side. So once you get that zipper in, it's pretty easy to do. The zipper just, it's my third time putting in a zipper, so it just gets a little scary sometimes. But you can do it. So let's take out those pins and let's trim. I'm just going to use my scissors. I give it like about 1/4 inch seam allowance there. Trim off your triangles. Alright, now if you remember to open up your zipper, you can inside it out. But if you forgot, you're going to have to start all over. So I'm just going to push this out and poke my corners really well. Flip this over, poke these corners up. And here's your cute little zipper pouch. I think it's adorable. Lay better if I would iron it, but see? Nice and cute. I think this would be really cute with English paper piecing. And I'm actually going to finish the one that I started and make myself a zipper pouch out of it, because this would be great. You know, it's kind of lined with the fleece, so it's padded. I mean, this would be great, you know, if you're traveling, store all your chargers, and it's probably big enough to fit a Kindle, maybe an iPad mini. I mean, I don't know. Oh, and the finishing touch, if you got the subscription box, there's a cute little Sewing Notion zipper pull in your box. Some of them were sewing machines, some of them were zippers. This one's a little measuring tape. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty cute. I had fun making these. And then you can just attach that to your zipper. If I can get it to work. There we go. There we go. All done. So I hope you have fun making your zipper pouch. Leave a message in the comments if you have any questions about the pattern or the video. And let me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of our videos and our swaps for our blocks. We have a new one coming out in a couple of weeks. And don't forget, today is a great day to quilt.